ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم يغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله تبارك وتعالى وأحسن هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. As we continue in the sharh, or the commentary of Buloogh al-Maraam, which is Kitab al-Nikah, in regards to the matters which enlightens us about the steps that needs to be taken in regards to marriage and all the different types of adab, the etiquettes that follow along with that, such as making dua for the two spouses at the time of their marriage. And this is where we stopped at in regards to the last hadith, which is in the authority of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu ardah, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان إذا رفأ إنسانا إذا تزوج قال بارك الله لك وبارك عليك وجمع بينكما في خير إلى آخره. رواه أحمد والأربعة وصححه الترمذي وابن خزيمة وابن حبان. We stopped at the hadith in regards to the etiquettes and all the affairs which is regards to marriage, in which it's coming upon a Muslim to enlighten themselves in regards to what has now been made ignorant in regards to these matters, in which a lot of people you'll find fall not only just into a lot of misconceptions, but they fall into a lot of errors and mistakes in regards to their marriage, prior, before the marriage, in the marriage, and after the divorce takes place. You'll find there are mistakes made, even in regards to the children, even in regards, like we said, from the beginning to the middle and the end. And our religion is comprehensive for all aspects, from before the marriage and when the marriage actually inaugurates, and then likewise in the end, how to depart. There's adab, and there's tafsil, and there's details, in which you'll find a lot of the Muslims disregard either to their ignorance of it or just merely just following their desires and their emotions. So, in regards to the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu ardah, the Prophet ﷺ said that if one was to get married, he said that if he would congratulate him, if a person became married, he would make this dua for him: Barakallahu lak wa baraka alayk wa jama'a baynukuma fi khairin. We said, Ya ma'ashar al-ikhwa, in regards to this hadith, this is not the only hadith that the Prophet ﷺ made dua when a person became married. For if you look into the Adab al-Zifaf by the great Al-Imam Muhammad Nasiruddin al-Albani rahimahullah, there's other ad'iyah, there's other supplications that he brought that are authentic, that have been established and authentically reported upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for other ad'iyah that one is to make when a person gets married from his companions or his Barakallahu lak, Barakallahu lak. May Allah bless this dua for the people or the two couples who became married. Meaning, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in your marriage. العلم والبركة في الأخلاق كما تشمل البركة كما تشمل البركة في الرعاية والبركة في الأولاد، أن كل ما يمكن أن يكون فيه بركة فهو داخل في هذا. As the great Imam Muhammad al-Salih, as he mentions in regards to the meaning of the word al-barakah, he said meaning blessing in the knowledge, blessing in your morals and your character and your etiquette. And likewise, al-barakah fi ri'ayah, meaning in one taking care of the spouse and taking care of each other, and also likewise barakah in the children. He says in everything that is able, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in that. Hence, the meaning of the dua here. For example, يُبَارِكُ اللَّهُ لَكْ فِي أَهْلِكَ بِكَثْرَةِ الْأَوْلَادِ. For example, you make a dua for the person who became married, that Allah bless them and their family by having abundance of children, for example. Or, for example, that Allah bless you in your family or bless you in your spouse by having that good moral character and good etiquette. And also likewise her having that ri'ayat al-hasana, that her taking care of you and having that upright ri'ayah, or that upright caretaking in the marriage likewise, in regards to the what? The spouse. For the dua, basically just to make everything concise, is comprehensive for all these meanings. So Allah Ta'ala also, for example, you're asking him to put barakah even in istimta', even as far as one taking pleasure and enjoying themselves with her. Also likewise, that Allah Ta'ala put barakah in that, yes. Because we know the Prophet ﷺ said authentic hadith, which is in which you guys probably inshallah already have memorized, which is Arba'in al-Nawawiyyah, where the Prophet ﷺ has said, وَفِي بُضْعِ أَحَدِكُمْ صَدَقَةً. فإذا يا رسول الله يأتي أحدنا شهوته يكون في ذلك أجر قال أرأيت إذا وضع الإنسان في ذلك أليس يكون عليه وزر فكذلك إذا أتى أهله فيكون عليه فيه أجر وكما أخبر بذلك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said in the last part of dua, which, excuse me, that authentic narration where the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, في بضع أحدكم صدقة. He said, when you are intimate with your spouse, you will have a reward for it of sadaqah. So the companions of the Prophet ﷺ had asked, O Messenger of Allah, ayati ahaduna shahwatahu yakunu fi dhalika ajr? He said, one of us was to satisfy his desire with his spouse. He said, will we have in that a reward? He says, ara'ayta in wada'a dhalika fi haraman ala yakuna alayhi wizr? That's the narration. He says, if one of them was to do it in a matter that is unlawful, won't he have a sin upon him? He said, akuna alayhi wizr? Won't he have a sin upon him? He said, وَكَذَلِكَ إِذَا وَضَعَ ذَلِكَ. If he does and he satisfies desire, that which Allah has made lawful, he will have a reward for that. So, this is the introduction. Now, this is Arba'in Nawawi Sahih. For what we say, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwat, inshallah, this is a warning for a lot of the couples in this area. As I notice a lot of people that become married, and I notice this, even is done inconspicuously where they think I don't know what's going on, or the brothers here don't know what's going on, but we know the patterns of people when they've been involved with the couple prior before the marriage, or the couples have been involved with each other prior before the marriage. For we know all the times and all the cases, and we know all the talk and the speech and the tricks. Trust me, I'm very keen on it. It's done with probably 80 cases or 100 or more. So when I come to Washington, D.C., it's probably like a rerun. Community from not what in being in or indulging in premarital involvement with the spouse prior before the marriage. For verily, a person in all sorts of problems occur after. For that reason, we say, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, we warn the community, and likewise I advise myself, because you never know when Allah Ta'ala will test you. As even the prophets were tested. Even some of the prophets, such as Prophet Yusuf, was tested with a beautiful woman trying to call him to do something haram with him. So, we say, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, and also those who are listening, that not We forgive and overlook what has transpired due to ignorance. But once one knows and he has knowledge of what he's doing, then it's binding upon him to implement what he knows. So we constantly remind the people not to have prior premarital involvement by dating, texting, being on the phone, whereas they're being involved until it leads up to them falling into the crime of premarital sex. Then you wonder why the marriage is set up for failure. Then you wonder why all sorts of problems take place. And Allah knows best, the barakah has been removed from the marriage. The barakah and the blessing has been removed from the marriage. Trust issues taking place, and then you have the concept being born out of wedlock, and also likewise Allah's wrath coming down due to these acts. And that's the reason why you see STDs, and that's the reason why you see these marriages, they don't work out, even amongst the kuffar. Divorce rate high. And on top of that, to the end of it, as we said, you will see that the communities start disliking each other, and the neighbors and the people now do not love each other anymore, all because of these affairs in which has been legalized and been propagated and advertised. Involved in binding upon him to work by the knowledge that he possesses. طيب, if you notice in the hadith, it says, Barakallahu alayk. So the Prophet ﷺ in the dua, if you look in your books, the Prophet ﷺ made dua for the man and for his family, and that Allah Ta'ala bestow his barakah upon him in all these matters. Like we said, it is comprehensive for barakah in knowledge, barakah in etiquette, meaning that your wife have good etiquette, that you have good moral character with each other and your dealings with one another in the house. And also barakah in ri'ayah, and also the wife taking care of the spouse, and the spouse taking care, or the husband taking care of the wife. Blesses one in everything. So basically he's just saying generally, it could be for this and it could be for that. Dua barakah for it being specific in certain matters, or dua of it being what? General for everything in a marriage. So the dua is for that also, like in what is good. Now, I tried to hold it back, but I couldn't. Close the door. So the Prophet ﷺ said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gather between you two and all what is good. Gather between you two spouses in your fi khayri dini or dunyawi. In regards to that which is worldly, in regards to that which is also religious. To gather between both matters. Like we said, this was a replacement, or this dua was a replacement from Jahiliyyah, as we talked about last lesson. As we said, they used to say the Arab prior. Before Islam, they used to say the barakah bil-rafa' wal-banin. Bil-rifa' afwan. Bil-rifa'i wal-banin. Bil-rifa'i wal-banin, meaning may Allah bring harmony amongst you, or give you husn al-ishra, or husn al-mu'ashara. May He give you good dealings within the marriage, of dealing with one another in the way is good, and when He bestow upon you sons, just giving you sons, that's it, boys. So we said this tarfi al-jahiliyyah has been replaced by Islam, as we talked about. Our religion gives us a badil, in exchange for everything of what is haram. For the Prophet ﷺ, and Allah and His Messenger made zina haram, He has replaced it with what? Nikah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made intoxicants haram, and He has made in the badil, or the exchange for it, was what? All the tayyibat. For everything that you find, and even likewise, for example, al-a'yad al-kafira, all those disbelieving holidays that one or the non-Muslims celebrate, Allah has given us exchange for that, which is what? The two a'yad during the year. So you'll find that the religion that it gives for what you see is haram. Allah gives us a badil, an exchange for what is what? For what is lawful, what we can practice. For it says, إثنتان قاصرتان لفظا ومعنى ومن العجب أن بعض السفهاء منا إذا رفأ أحدا. You will find that there are still people that still say this dua in Jahiliyyah. There are some from the Arab and some countries that still say this. May Allah give you what? May He give you harmony or cohesiveness amongst the two spouses, or may He grant you that good dealings until you are cohesive in your marriage with the wife and the husband. And also likewise, may He give you those boys. May He give you what? May He give you males or boys. So we said, as we know, prior before Islam, it was encouraged before that one has a son, or you have boys rather than what? Women. That was more preferable. To have those boys over the what? Over the females. Because, like we said, during the time before Islam was sent, the time of Jahiliyyah, that they were afraid that females would bring some type of disgrace to the family. Either by doing something unlawful with another man, or, as we talked about before, or by doing something of something else unlawful, which will bring some type of humiliation or disgrace to the family, in which, as a result of it, it will bring their status down. Because we said back in those days, everything was about honor and chivalry and high status as far as cleanliness in the family. And like we said, premarital sex and people fornicating and adultery, all that was what? Deemed highly condemned with the Arab during the time. Before the Prophet ﷺ was sent, they had that type of honor with them. They had that type of what? Those good characteristics. So everything was supposed to be by marriage. For verily, if one was to do something outside the marriage, it would be something that was considered a disgrace. It would be dishonorable and very disgraceful. And it would bring disgrace upon the family. So they was afraid of this, So that's the reason why you'll find during the time of the Arab, they used to what? Bury their what? Daughters alive. They used to either bury them alive, or they used to also likewise bury them alive, or if she was dead, of course they would even hope that he would die before, so she wouldn't even live in the first place. Or she would be put in the ground and buried alive. And we talked about the story, what happened with one of the Arab, about maybe a couple of months ago, that the father took the daughter out and she put her hand on his foot while he was looking at her, and she was in the ground, he was burying her. Yeah, out of what? Out of the fear of horror, of disgrace that she would bring upon the family. But that was all from shaitan, from what is from the belief system of what? To show how binding upon one to correct his belief system. Once your belief system is corrupt, your actions will be corrupt. Once the way you think and your mind is corrupted, and how you think is corrupted, then your actions are going to be corrupt. So once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam with the pure aqeedah, this has been erased. And Allah ta'ala gave honor to the woman and gave her status and gave her rights where she's not oppressed, and also bestowed his blessing upon a woman where she's deemed as something honorable and stuff instead of being perceived as just a mere sex object. In these days and times, shaitan has beautified it. Allah ta'ala has bestowed honor upon a woman where shaitan is what? Has decorated to think that being honorable and noble and pure and covered is what? Oppressive. For example, a woman is covered, she's oppressed. But when she shows her body parts, her bosom and her breasts and her legs and her hair to everyone in the whole dunya, then that's honorable, that's noble, that's liberty. But you see how shaitan has made it in a manner, switched all the matters up, where a woman that displays her beauty for everyone in the dunya, that's honorable and noble. And when it regards to a woman that likes to cover it up and keep herself chaste and pure, I think both of it is correct, chaste and pure, and cover up her bosom and her beauty and her adornments, and wants to show that only for her husband and for those who consider to be something special and exclusive for only certain people to show, then that's considered oppressive. So you find how shaitan has switched up everything in these days and times. So the next part, or the last part of the hadith, like we said, ya ma'ashal ikhwah, that dua is made at the time of the marriage, and one makes that dua. He makes that dua, the Prophet ﷺ, and we said it's not just restricted to this dua only. Like I said, I remember last week we read some of those supplications from Imam al-Albani, in which he also authenticated, which has also been affirmed upon the Prophet ﷺ, that he will make at the time of marriage likewise. طيب. So the first thing we say in the last part of this hadith, we say what? That it's been legislated at the time of marriage when one gets married. At the time when he becomes married, he says this dua. It doesn't matter whether or not he actually consummated or not. A person still makes a dua for the person. So that's number one. Number two, has it been legislated for the woman only or the man only? We said it's been legislated for what? Both. For a woman to congratulate another sister, a sister congratulate another sister in this manner by making the same dua for her. So we said even if the consummation does not take place, if it doesn't take place, it's still legislated that what? That makes dua. This is an important point that I wanted to single out here. There's an important point here that was been mentioned by Imam Ibn Uthaymeen, where he says, لا تشرع المصافحة عند الترفئة الدليل وعدم الدليل. He said it is not legislated that one shakes hands when a person gets married, when he wants to congratulate them. He says the dalil is there isn't any dalil. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he did not do it. And if he would have did it, it would have been conveyed to us. He says, لأنه يبعد أن الصحابة يعقلون السنة جمعت إلى سنة أخرى. He says it's far off that the Sahaba will understand that one sunnah is gathered with another sunnah, except they would have what? They would have known something about it. And it's also far off that the Prophet ﷺ, likewise, when he used to congratulate here, in this specific occasion, that he used to what? Shake hands. كان يصافح ويقول هذا الذكر. You shake hands with the person, then he would say this dua. He says if he would do this, and if this would have been done in this manner, it would have been conveyed to us. He said for that reason, it has not been conveyed al-musafaha, shaking hands. He said because shaking hands, there's no reason for it in this type of situation. As you know, alhamdulillah, from a lot of experiences in the masjid, we make the dua for the person and he leaves. So we don't get up and start kissing and shaking hands. You'll find in certain Arab countries, they do this. They kiss a lot. They kiss a lot. I mean, not kiss on the lips, but a little kiss on the cheek or things like that. In America, they take it another step. But now, days we living in now, that's something different. But at any rate, إنما المصافحة, I'm serious, إنما المصافحة تكون عند الملاقاة والسلام يتفرع على هذه الفائدة أن التقبيل. Also likewise, we say, kissing has not been legislated here. Also likewise, has not been legislated. And you will find it is in regards to the shara'. It's in regards to what's been legislated, even if the people can claim that it's a custom. Even if the people could claim it's a custom. Here we say, the custom here is to say that you cannot use this as an excuse here in this specific instance. To say, for example, oh, you use kisses to customs. No. We say that we stick to what the Prophet ﷺ did in this occasion, where he make the dua for the individual, and that's it. Understand, everyone? Make dua for him, say this dua, and that's it. Oh, panda. You understand, everyone? Gee. Have any water? Next hadith. Who wants to read it for me? خطبة الحاجة. There's any? You have any water? No bottles of water in there? I'm not sure. تفضل. Keep reading, Sheikh.
Praise is due to Allah, whom we praise and from whom we ask help and forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil of ourselves. He whom Allah guides has no one to lead him astray, and he whom he leads astray has no one to guide him. I testify that there is nothing deserving of worship except Allah, and I testify that Muhammad is his slave and messenger. He then recites 3 verses, and this is reported by Ahmad and al-Abba. Timothy and
al-Hakim. Jayyid. The next hadith, if everyone looks in their books, and I hope they brought their books. Oh, still some right there? I'm sorry. So, the next... I think he found one. I think he did. If he didn't find it, then yeah. طيب. For the next hadith, if you all look in your books, when you thought Abdullah ibn Mas'ud ibn Ummi Abd, as the Prophet ﷺ described him, ibn Ummi Abd. قال علمنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم التشهد في الحاجة. The Prophet ﷺ, that he taught us التشهد في الحاجة. التشهد في الحاجة. Meaning, what one will read in a time of something of great importance. And you want to start it off and inaugurate it by Allah Ta'ala putting some type of barakah in that type of speech that you're trying to what? Actualize. Or that type of speech that you want to start, and it has some type of importance that he teach, and he used to teach them teach the Sahaba this particular narration, in which I think everyone should have memorized, every Muslim, which is khutbah al-hajjah. Inna alhamdulillah, you hear this all the time. Inna alhamdulillahi nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh, to the end of it. This khutbah al-hajjah, not khutbah tahajjud. Khutbah al-hajjah, as I heard people say this, khutbah tahajjud, khutbah tahajjah, khutbah tahajjud. I've heard it a lot from a lot of people. It's khutbah al-hajjah, hajjatun, khutbah al-hajjah. For khutbah al-hajjah, now we have started in the narration in regards to what everyone, in regards to what one says even at the time of his marriage. So like we said, we take time to stop at every point in order to show how comprehensive our religion is. So if you notice, our religion even teaches us what do we say when we marry the two couple off. So we went from what? We went from the aspect of one thing, which is how to choose a wife, what to look for, what type of characteristics, the dua that you make, and what is said in order to marry the two couples off. See, our religion is comprehensive for everything. We know we know all the narrations that have been authentically reported upon the Prophet of our Prophet, even in the aspect of what is said at the time of the marriage in regards to marrying both the spouses. The Christians don't have this. The Jews don't have this. They don't have these authentic reports. It's lost. It's gone. So they make up innovations. They innovate something. Make it up for myself. Make it up for my opinion. Make it up for my rationality. And include it or what? Incorporate it in the religion. Us, walillahi alhamdu wal minna, everything's intact. We know exactly what the Prophet ﷺ used to say if he would marry the couples off. So that is to show what? How comprehensive and conclusive our religion is from every aspect. Jazakallah khairan. From every aspect. For these matters, we need to stop at and take advantage of them in order to increase our iman. You understand, everyone? So once you stop at these mahasin, these good points in the religion, then one does not what? Desire anything else. He doesn't desire Christianity because he knows that what they're doing is stuff with his things or affairs which are innovated. And from a person's own rationality, his own opinion, his own way of thinking. But when we do this, we know it's been what? Actual revelation that we're practicing. And it's still in this pure, tact form in which how it's been revealed. So you find, ya ma'ash al-ikhwa, this dua, or khutbah al-haja, or they call it the prayer of need, for lack of better words. The prayer of need, khutbah al-haja, the Prophet ﷺ used to teach them this in a time of a very important matter if it was to take place. So notice that it says, what everyone? إن الحمد لله علمنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم التشهد في الحاجة. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم taught us التشهد في الحاجة. Listen to it, Imam Ibn Fawzan, Abdullah ibn Fawzan, حفظ الله ورعاه, وطال الله في عمره بالأعمال الصالحة, as he says, في افتتاح كل أمر من الأمور المهمة. He says that a person says this, when the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said التشهد في الحاجة. التشهد في الحاجة. The prayer of need. He said, this is inaugurated in every matter from all important matters. From very important, all important matters. He says, from those matters is the marriage contract. عقد الزواج. The marriage contract. فهذه الخطبة يفتتح بها عقد النكاح وتفتتح بها المحاضرة والدرس وخطبة الجمعة أحيانا. لكن لا يدام عليها في خطب الجمعة. لكن الأغلب أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يفتتح الخطب يقول الحمد لله ولكن إذا قال في بعض الأحيان إن الحمد لله فلا بأس. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, if there was something of importance, and from them is what? The marriage contract. He would inaugurate it by this what? This statement or this dua or this prayer of need. He says, or he will also start it off and inaugurate it in his in a talk he would give to his what? Companions. Or in a lesson. Or in khutbatul jumu'ah sometimes. To the end of what he mentioned, hafidhullah wa ra'ah. So, this has been established in which one should try to memorize it. A lot of our brothers they've been Muslim for 5-6 years, they still haven't had this memorized. And I think they heard it probably maybe, Some of us, 20 years. But if that's the case, you guys have probably heard this maybe 100 times. You guys will probably have it memorized due to the fact you probably heard it so much. So inshallah, if one does not have it memorized and try his best, we encourage the brothers and sisters likewise to memorize it. طيب. What is important is the actual alfaz, the words that are used inside of the actual dua, in which we'll pick the majority of the benefits from it. For you find in the dua, the Prophet ﷺ here, and Imam al-Albani has a specific little book called, in clarifying Khutbat al-Hajj and the benefits that are extracted from it. Imam al-Albani has it's a little small kutayib. It's a small book. It's a minimum small little kitab latif or kutayib. And he talks about and brings all the benefits of Khutbat al-Hajj and the different narrations. One, say it again. The e-book? Oh, they have the e-book too for that? So you found it? Jayyid. I have the book at home. I have the little book. It's a little small kutayb. It's not that big. But I have the book at home by Imam al-Albani. He brings all the narrations that are weak that people use in regards to this. And also likewise from the benefits of this. That the Prophet ﷺ used to even teach them this like he would teach them a surah from the Quran. Used to teach them khutbah al-hajah. Now, from those narrations, that he would teach them this just as he taught them a surah from the Quran. He would teach them khutbah al-hajah here. Inna alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inu to the end of it. طيب. What does one... See, this is... Don't you... Now, am I hearing things or do you hear sisters talking? You understand? Do we hear them? Yeah, we should. Well, inshallah, sisters can write down paper, just slide it under the door if there's a question, inshallah. But we'll talk about and address the questions after the class. Just slide the paper under the door. But it's not befitting that our mannerisms that we hear sisters. We can hear their voices. It's not befitting. طيب. So we say, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, in regards to a khutbah al-hajah, that one should try to memorize it and do his best and work diligently in memorizing this khutbah, this prayer of need, especially in the times of with regards to those matters that are of grave importance. Now we're going to start on the different alfal that is used and the benefits that's extracted from it. Notice the Prophet ﷺ has said, Inna alhamdulillah. For inna, as we know, is harf al-tawqid. It is that which shows emphasis. Verily. Alhamd is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As all alhamd is for Allah in all cases, whether it be in a case of what? Whether it be in a state of, a case of what is something that we deem to be evil or that we deem to be good. For verily, alhamd is for Him, tabarak wa ta'ala, in all cases. And if you notice in the beginning of it, that it says, Inna alhamdulillah, and it's repeated again, Nahmaduhu. For it started off, that you will notice that all of those talbiyah, even if in the time of Hajj, that it started off with inaugurating dua with praise. Even if we used to go to Hajj. When we make talbiyah, when a person assumes the state of ihram from the miqat, what would he say? The dua that he starts, once he's in ihram, what does he say? Inna alhamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk. He said, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik wa labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. Inna alhamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk. La sharika lak. All of that which is to what? To show the tawheed and unification of Allah in His worship and make that what? That which is to start off in His worship. So it says here, verily alhamd is for Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. For all praise is for Allah in any state. Because Allah is the one who deserves praise and in any circumstance, in all circumstances. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves this specifically and exclusively for Him alone. And it is that alhamd al-kamil, khasum billah mukhtasum bihi. For verily alhamd is absolutely incomplete from all aspects and is specifically and exclusively for Him. And He is particularized by hamd in every aspect. But that absolute hamd, which is called alhamd al-mutlaq, al-kamil, complete hamd from all aspects is only for Him and is not for other than Him. For verily other than Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, other than Allah, could be praised for something specific only. As for that which is absolute praise, it is only for Him, tabaraka wa ta'ala, alone. In a matter in which He deserves, because He is the one that deserves to be what? Praised. So it says here that it starts off by emphasis, which is inna. Then alhamd comes after it, which is to give the description of the one who's being praised in a complete manner, from every aspect. For verily, in the origin, nobody deserves absolute praise initially except Allah Himself. As for other than Him, like we said, the type of hamd that you would give or praise you would give for a person from the creation is called hamd fara'. It's something that's what they call subsidiary. I'll use another word. Something that is a branch of something that's a branch of praise or some type of partial praise. Partial praise. Some type of partial praise. Because a person that, for example, that gives you some type of good or aid monetarily or might do something for you, of course he's praised for that thing, partially. But in actuality, the one who preordained it and the one who written it and the one who gave power to that individual and health to his body, and also gave that type of energy to his body, all of that in actuality is from who? It's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the one who gave him his intelligence to go out to get the money so he could give it to you, in actuality is what? It's from him subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of it is from him, tabaraka wa ta'ala. And all of it, like we said, it brings us to have humbleness, tawadu'. For if a person knows that everything that he has of good is not from himself, that if Allah wanted, he could have caused you to die in your sleep. And if Allah wanted, he wouldn't have gave you that intelligence. No, he gave you that health in your body to get up in the morning and go out and attain those type of provisions for yourself. And he knows it's all from him. Then it keeps you humble. Keeps you a humble individual. And that's from the benefits of, like we said, Tawheed. The benefits of Tawheed, and like we talked about before, from the benefits of it is that it keeps the individual humble. Because you know that every type of blessing that you have in your life, whether it be of sight, whether it be of money, whether it be a good wife, whether it be a car, you know that it is from Allah and it's not from yourself. Ultimately, it's from Allah. Allah woke you up in the morning. Allah gave you the provisions and He gave you the intelligence. Because some people have not been given the same intelligence of others to go out and do certain things easily as it's easy for him, but other people consider it difficult. You understand? From one person to another, everybody's different of what they've been given of intelligence, what they've been given of certain talents, what they've been given of certain things to stand out. And that ultimately is all from who? It's all from Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if one realizes this, if one realizes this, then ultimately it keeps him what? Humble. Keeps you a humble individual. And the prime example of that, as I said, is so many lessons prior. For example, the kuffar, due to the fact they don't have a correct aqeedah, they don't have a correct belief, they think everything is from themselves. They think that I have millions of dollars, that's from me. I have $1 million because I'm the one that made this. I'm the one that, even if it's haram, they'll say, for example, I'm the one that came up with this music. I'm the one that made this music. I'm the one that did the notes and sorted up everything until I'm the one that what? I'm the one that deserves this money. I'm the reason why I have this. Don't you see what I've done? And it takes them what? Arrogant. Since we know all those people that have that type of status, usually and maybe 90% of the time, all of them become very haughty and arrogant and belligerent and start looking down upon people. And they think they're in a whole world of their own. But as far as when a person now comes in the state of Islam and he has the proper aqeedah and he knows that he's not supposed to ascribe a blessing that he has to other than Allah, that he's supposed to only ascribe it to Him alone, then he knows that what? At the end, it's binding upon me to what? Stay humble. Because if Allah wanted, just as Allah has said about in previous of the past, nations of the past, of those who are haughty and arrogant and look down upon people due to their status of money, except that Allah had what? Humiliated them and destroyed them. And brought them back down to what? To earth. After their heads was in the clouds. And kept raising them higher and higher so their fall could be even more harder. You understand, everyone? So, we say that alhamd is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all cases. And He's the one that deserves it. And that's why it started off in this hajjah, khutbah al-hajjah. It started off with praising Him subhanahu wa ta'ala firstly. Then if you notice in the dua, it says, nasta'inuhu. We praise Allah and we also seek His what? His aid. For verily, as we know, isti'ana is from what? It's from those qulub al-a'mal. Isti'ana wal-aun. All of that is from what? It is from the actions of the heart, which is a type of worship. And we're talking about the seeking, the type of help here is the help of the ibadah. Is the help of what? The ibadah. Is the help of worship. We're not talking about by seeking help from the creation. If you ask someone to help you lift something, that's another type of what? Help. But we know initially the abd is supposed to be dependent upon himself and not to be dependent on the creation as much as he's able. He puts forth his utmost diligence and utmost effort to be dependent on himself and not to be or subject himself to what? Asking and also likewise seeking help from the creation. But in certain circumstances, if he needs that, there's nothing wrong with that. If he needs it, then there's nothing wrong with that. But the type of i'ana, isti'ana here we're talking about what is connected with the what, everyone? The heart, the belief of the heart. The seeking of help as far as the ibadah is different than the seeking of help of what? As far as with the creation, That's something totally different as far as with your worldly mundane matters. We're talking about i'ana or isti'ana or aun in regards to one's belief system, which is worship, which is only for Allah wa ta'ala. For example, for verily, if we used to go out, or if one wants to attain some type of employment or career, or he wants a good job, it's incumbent upon you two things. Number one is you seek help with the creation by what? Going out, filling out the form. Also, likewise, what everyone? Also, for example, attaining those recommendations, filling out certain applications, looking around, going online, what have you, to the end of it. The thing that a lot of people lose out on is to always have your heart tied with Allah. You have your heart tied in with Allah always. And not to have your heart always tied in with what? The creation. Thinking that the ultimate final decision is with Him. La. The ultimate final decision is with Allah. If Allah wanted, He could put it in His heart for you to hire, for Him to hire you. Whether it be a Muslim or non-Muslim. He could put it in His heart to hire you. Or He might put it in His heart to not hire you. So the ultimate one who's in control is who? Allah ta'ala. You understand, everyone? So it's binding upon a person to have both matters and actualize both of them by having his heart connected with Allah and at the same time going out and seeking those provisions by seeking help with the creation at the same time in those certain matters. You understand, everyone? But what we're talking about is that aid with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sought. Notice it says, وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ or وَنَسْتَغْفِرُهُ. وَنَسْتَغْفِرُهُ. We seek His forgiveness. As we know, al-maghfirah, al-ghafar, is sitr, means sitr. The asl of ghufran, or maghfirah, the origin of maghfirah, or ghufran, the origin of it is a sitr, means to cover up something, as we know. Means to cover up something, means sitr. Keep something hidden. And the Prophet ﷺ had came in Mecca, and it was upon his head a mighfar. You notice it's a derivative of the word ghafara, right? Mighfar has the same words in it. Ghafara, mighfar. Mighfar was a helmet to keep his what? Head covered. To keep what? His head covered. Just to show how what? Ghafara means to cover up something. So, when ghufran, or the word maghfirah, the meaning of it is that you're asking Allah to cover up your sins or your shortcomings in this world and in the hereafter. And not only cover up your faults and your sins in this world and the hereafter, but also likewise, on top of that, what everyone? That you're asking Allah to also overlook your sins and forgive them. Both. So when you say ghafara, you're asking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala two things. You're asking Him to cover up your sins and your faults. And at the same time, you are asking Him to overlook them and forgive them and pardon them and excuse them. So you gather between both. So that's when we say nastaghfiruhu. That's what you're asking Allah ta'ala. You're asking Him to cover up your faults and your sins and not to expose you. Right, everyone? And from those meanings of exposure is not to look up and follow the shortcomings of your brother and your sister, to try to find fault in them. Yes, that's from the means of also Allah ta'ala what? Covering up your sins. And from the means of you achieving that is not to look for other people's faults either. Not to look for them. And not to look where a person comes up short at and where he what? Where his uyub or his type of deficiencies are and where they lie. Not to look for them. There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he said, it was in Ibn Majah, and other than them, he said, من تتبع عورة أخيه لا تتبع عورة أخيه أو لا يتتبع الرجل عورة أخيه فمن تتبع الله عورة أخيه تتبع الله عورته ومن تتبع الله عورته يفضحه الله ولو كان في جوف رحله وفي رواية أخرى ولو كان في بيته. He says, do not follow up or look for the faults or the shortcomings or the deficiencies of your brother. For the one who follows him up, meaning always looking for something, just trying to pry, look for something wrong. Just looking, there's something wrong about this girl or this sister. She ain't all perfect. I'm trying to look for something. Or this brother, it's something specific. I know it's something wrong with him. I know I'm going to find it. Whoever finds and tries to look for that, Allah will follow up and look for his outer. And whoever Allah looks for his awrah or follows up for his mistakes and his shortcomings, Allah will expose him even if it's fi jawfi rahlihi. And the meaning of what it says in the inside of his saddle beast, meaning in his most intimate places, he'll be exposed in. And another narration explains that where it says, even if it's in his house, Allah will expose them. So for those means that you want to cover up your faults and you want your faults to be covered, cover up the faults of your brothers and your sisters and not to look for them. You understand? And if they are, and if it becomes something open, where they're doing something that's detrimental, that's going to cause damage or fitna, then advise them in private and softly and kind and gentle. But as we know, also the origin of ghufran is that you're asking Allah to what? Cover up your sins and to also overlook them. And also likewise, because we know sins is what can cloud one's judgment. And it can make affairs difficult for him. And it can make things difficult in regards to things you might want facilitated that you need in your life. Sins will allow things to be difficult. And it can also blind your judgment. Sins can blind your judgment. As you know, the kuffar, they think they're there. As we know, we talked about it, I said this before in many lessons. The kuffar have the ideologies of the Qadariyah. They don't even realize it. They think they're in control of everything. They think, oh no, the reason why we have all these type of drama or this violence and this crime is because just people don't know how to act. Or the reason why we have these sicknesses, these STDs, it has nothing to do with sins. People just need to what? People just need to watch themselves and put protection on, or we just take some penicillin and that's it. La. The reason why we're in the situation is because we're disobeying Allah. But they don't have that aqeedah. They don't think the result of what's going on is because of sins, or it's because of what? Disobeying Allah and not believing in what He's revealed and submitting to it and actualizing it and practicing it and putting in also practicing it in our daily lives. They think they're the meanings. They're the reason. I'm the reason. The reason why my money or I'm in the situation I'm in is because I just have not done this properly in a manner which, for example, I should have wore a condom or I should have. This is the reason why I caught this sickness is because I was around so-and-so at my job and I caught this sickness here because I knew I shouldn't have been around him. Akhi, like you're ultimately in control. You understand, everyone? Like you're ultimately in the one who has the determining factors and affairs in your hand. Not to say that we don't take the means, but we don't say that the means is the things that's ultimately in control. You understand, everyone? And kuffar, how they know we're in control. We're the ones the reason why I'm poor is because of the situation I'm in. Because of that's the way things are. We have people out there that haven't done that hardly don't even work and they have millions of dollars. And you have the opposite. You have people that work hard and diligent, kill themselves, and Allah is just preordained. They're what? They have a little bit of provisions. Right, everyone? So we say at the end, it's for all the hikmah out of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, why He does this, for reasons He knows. And I said this in the khutbah Friday. If you go to the studies, and study that the majority of the people who are depressed and sad, they're in countries where they have a lot of money. UK, America, United States, the people in Britain. And the people who don't have the sadness or the depression are in a lot of poor countries that don't have as much money. Do the studies. The status of depression and grief and sadness is all in people who have a lot of money and countries that have a lot of money. And they're known to be what? Living in affluence and opulence and things like that. Not saying, like we said, there's nothing wrong with that. We're trying to attain money and be dependent on yourself. We're not discouraging people to what? Be dependent. But at the same time, it still has to be what? Fear of Allah. Fear of Allah is ultimately what? Is what gives you the happiness. That's the reason why it says in the ayah, and there's an ayah where Allah Ta'ala says in His book, He said, verily we have revealed to you, He said, Inna anzalna ilayka al-kitab liyahkuma bayna an-nas bil-haq bima araha Allah. وَلَا تَكُونُ لِلْخَائِنِينَ خَصِيمًا. For Allah Ta'ala says in His book, is an ayah where Allah Ta'ala says, we have revealed to you the book. Listen to this. In order for you to judge between the people what Allah Ta'ala wants, what He sees befitting for the creation. And do not be lil kha'inina khasima. And do not be for those who are kha'inin, those who are treacherous and perfidious. Do not be a khasim for them. Meaning do not be one who to go against them or one who to argue with them. To the end of the ayah. Listen to the tafsir of this. There's a benefit that's from the tafsir of this. The tafsir of this, from the benefits of it, it says in it that Allah Ta'ala, from the benefits of the ayah, is that to stay away from sins and to follow it up and also put before you need to judge a matter or you need an insight in something, to also put and start it off with seeking Allah's forgiveness so it can wipe away the athar of the noob, so it won't blind your judgment. To seek Allah's forgiveness from istighfar. There's an athar that I heard from Sheikh Muhammad al-Anjali, and I consider Sheikh Muhammad al-Anjali my father, or from my fathers. Sheikh Muhammad al-Anjali said in a benefit, and he was in UK. He said that Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyyah, he said that he used to, if he would read something in his book or matter, and he found that he wasn't understanding it. He kept reading a mas'ala or a certain matter or issue, and he was finding difficulty in understanding it. He said he would what? He would do istighfar, he would seek Allah's forgiveness. He would seek Allah's forgiveness, seek Allah's forgiveness, seek Allah. He says, and then all of a sudden Allah will unlock for him to start understanding it. Allah will unlock for him to start understanding it. By starting it off by what? To show how what? Sins can what, everyone? It can blind you and it can cause difficulty. Understand, everyone? He said he would start it off by istighfar. By saying it and saying it and saying it, and Allah will unlock for him to understand that certain issue that was difficult. It's a benefit, isn't it? For verily it says here, istighfar. So you see the importance of it, right, everyone? You see the importance of seeking istighfar. So it can wipe away the effects of the sins so one can start seeing clearly. And he can start judging and doing things clearly and properly. So things now could be facilitated for him that are difficult in his life. And things could be let loose in that type of barakah that he wants to start what? Coming. All of that is from istighfar here, as it says in the dua. So notice that the dua gathers between all these. In alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu, nasta'inuhu, wa nastaghfiruh. Oh man, it's 209. I have about, we started initially what time? 1:14? Jay, so I can keep going for about 8 minutes. Tayyib. So, if you notice in the dua, it says to seek that forgiveness. Right, everyone? To seek that what? Forgiveness. And you see the importance of it, right, everyone? Hold up, everyone, trying to find something. Now, so notice I forgot to say this. The last part of that ayah where it says, وَلَا تَكُونَ لِلْخَائِنِينَ خَصِيمًا, the mawdi' shahid is here. This is, subhanAllah, I forgot the whole point where I mentioned the ayah. If you notice in the ayah, this is Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 105 and 6 I just found. طيب, if you notice in Surah An-Nisa that ayah just said, that he said, Allah Ta'ala said to his Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, وَلَا تَكُونَ لِلْخَائِنِينَ خَصِيمًا وَاسْتَغْفِرِ اللَّهِ. Seek Allah's forgiveness. Verily Allah Ta'ala is ghafuran, tawwab, kana tawwab ar-rahima. That Allah Ta'ala kana ghafur ar-rahima. That He is all forgiving, He is all merciful. And that's from the benefits of that ayah. He says that you'll find that the ulama mention in regards to that to what? To seek Allah's istighfar in order for one to what? Attain some type of understanding and to give him better judgment and clear thinking in certain matters so he can what? So he can take the proper decision in certain matters. And to also for him to attain fiqh and understanding in certain matters that he finds difficult to understand. Jayyid. طيب. Notice it says, وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ شُرُورِ أَنفُسِنَا. Inshallah, we'll stop here. I'm going to prolong it, even though I want to keep going. We'll stop here, inshallah. Any questions about the lesson? هذا وصلى الله وسلم بارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت واستغفرك وأتوب إليك. تفضل, you can turn it off.